Construction begins on the waterfront art gallery. More dangerous highway driving caught on camera. And a 19-year-old firefighter has died in BC. Good evening and thank you for joining us. Construction on Thunder Bay's new $50 million art gallery is now fully underway at the waterfront. Officials estimate about 2 years of work, meaning the gallery's doors could open to the public by the summer of 2025. Vasilios Bellos is following this story and joins us live in studio with the details. Vasilios.
Thanks, Ryan. The building is expected to provide the art gallery with more opportunities for exhibitions, education, and community engagement. There are concerns that the total price tag could climb, prompting gallery officials to already be considering cuts that wouldn't affect the overall design. Shovels are in the ground and pile drivers are solidifying the foundations at the waterfront site for a project nearly 15 years in the making. Crews have begun construction work for Thunder Bay's new art gallery, a dream that first began in 2009. It's a significant milestone, especially with so many delays since that time, with lease negotiations most recently holding up the work. Construction is expected to take about 2 years, which could mean the 38,000 square foot gallery will open to the public summer of 2025.
It will definitely cost $50 million, and it potentially may cost a bit more.
The gallery does have a hefty price tag, but has raised close to $50 million so far, which includes the federal government covering 70%. Project lead Sharon Godwin says the price could easily rise as the work continues, but says the gallery is already considering possible cuts that wouldn't take away from the overall design.
Intent is the building itself is not to change it. We're looking at reductions we might be able to make that will cut costs, but that won't impact what the design is, what the building essentially looks like.
There's expected to be a 5-month period where the gallery will no longer be operating at their current building on the college campus and before construction on the new facility is completed. Godwin says they had many great years at Confederation College, but that their new building will mean a huge improvement to their operations.
We'll be continuing to engage the community. I think we'll just have so much more opportunity to do that. More spaces, more education and exhibition spaces are only a good thing. A lot of nice outdoor programming space at the new gallery. And just contributing, being part of that whole waterfront development.
The art gallery is seeking more financial help for the project and is relaunching a public fundraising effort in September. Vasilios Bellos, TBT News.
Highway 102 is now fully reopened after a dramatic crash between a transport and an SUV late yesterday afternoon that shut down the busy route to all traffic. The SUV's front end was completely destroyed and the female driver was sent to hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. The crash caused the transport to wind up in the ditch, but the 2 occupants were unhurt. OPP were on scene, but it's still unclear if any charges will be laid. The section of Highway 102 just west of Maple Ward Road was closed in both directions for nearly 2 hours, resulting in a lengthy traffic delay. One lane of the highway had to be closed again for a short time today while the transport was removed. A shocking video of a transport truck making a very dangerous pass along Highway 11 near Geraldton went viral on Facebook this week. As you can see from the video, the transport is attempting to make a pass along a winding road in the no passing zone. The transport eventually managed to pass 2 other large trucks that were in front of it. Thankfully, no oncoming vehicles were on the highway and nobody was hurt. As of now, there haven't been any charges laid against the driver in question. Northwest Region OPP Constable Matt Foster explains the potential charges that could come from an incident like this.
Some of the penalties that you could receive if you are caught driving like this could be careless driving. Careless driving is a provincial offense. It carries 6 demerit points and is $490 fine. However, something like this could be considered also dangerous driving, which is a criminal charge. And with that, has the possibility of having a criminal record as well as a driving prohibition.
OPP advise anyone who spots this type of unsafe maneuver to call 911 immediately, as this is considered an emergency situation, and police strongly urge the owner of this dash cam footage to send it to them for further investigation. The jury in the coroner's inquest examining the 2014 death of Emmanuel Oridameka says the manner of his death will remain undetermined. The jury did hand down 14 recommendations today, however. The majority of them focus on better medical distress and anti-racism training for Thunder Bay police officers. The verdict follows 8 days of evidence and testimony, which revealed that Oridameka became unresponsive while inside the Balmoral Police Headquarters after ingesting cocaine before he was taken into custody for a weapons offense. Oridameka died 4 days later in hospital. Full details can be found on tvnewswatch.com. Local tennis officials remain hopeful that the new indoor facility at Chappells Park will open by the end of the year, but city administration is calling that a best-case scenario. Bids are expected to come in for the largest part of the work next week, but there are a number of other steps before construction on the 6-court tennis dome can begin. Jonathan Wilson reports.
There's optimism in the tennis community that they've spent their last winter without their favorite sport.
Still a really good shot at getting things completed this year.
4 months after a sod-turning ceremony, which may have been a bit premature, the new 6-court indoor tennis facility at Chappells Park is inching closer to reality, with project officials eyeing September for the beginning of construction. The project was most recently pegged at about $3.7 million, with the city committing $1.5 million. The tender for the work is currently out, with bids expected next week. Project lead Pasi Pinta says they also need to complete a land lease and funding agreement with the city.
Once we get all of that in place, we are lining up for the August 28th council meeting, where we're hoping to have everything ready for the council to formally approve and ratify their commitment financially and otherwise to the project.
Yeah, that's a best case scenario.
Community Services Manager Kelly Robertson says the city is working diligently with the tennis community to get the project moving ahead this year. But Robertson says certain agreements must be ready to be presented to Council on August 28th for that to be a reality.
To be installed for this fall and have enough lead time to do the prerequisite construction work, that's kind of like a date of no return, if you will. If we don't make that date, it's possible that, based on what I understand, that installation may not proceed this fall.
Pinta says he remains optimistic about a late August approval from Council, which would allow construction to begin in early September and be completed by December. Jonathan Wilson, TBT News.
A hotel on Cumberland Street has had to temporarily change its name because Best Western requires that it have a bar and restaurant in order to use its branding. The former Shoreline Hotel reopened in the middle of May as an Aiden by Best Western after undergoing about $5 million worth of renovations. But then in June, the Aiden signs were covered up with tarps and a temporary sign was put up with the name Superior Shores Hotel. Owner Sam Mushtak says under the franchise agreement, they can't operate as a Best Western until the bar and restaurant are open. He says they've had a hard time finding someone suitable to lease and operate that space, and Mushtak notes they may end up running it themselves.
But, we made a high-end hotel, so we want an operator that brings good clientele here, not what happened here before. So we have got few applications. We didn't like it, but now I think if we don't find an operator in next 2 weeks, we are designing a menu ourselves, and we may run the restaurant ourselves. So that way we are back into the Best Western family.
Mushtak says either way, the bar and restaurant will be open by the end of August, at which point they can take the tarps off the exterior signs. As for the remodeled 66-room hotel, he says there's been a good response from visitors so far, with an occupancy rate around 50 to 60%. Well, if you're looking for a fun activity for the family tonight or tomorrow night, the Confederation College Performing Arts Club is presenting an original outdoor play about the legend of Robin Hood.
With royal assent, you are to be my wife.
Sheriff, I would rather impale myself on yonder maypole than marry you.
Oh! That's a bird.
Whoa. Audience members will follow the cast as they sing, lip sync, and perform on the campus grounds. The play starts at 7:30 both nights on the college campus near the art gallery. The writers and actors have spent about 4 months preparing the show. They say it's a brand new, never-before-seen take on the iconic character of Robin Hood.
The idea of the play is that it's a group of minstrels that are trying to give their tale of Robin Hood, and they all have different ideas. They're kind of interjecting in their own kind of flavors for the story and the different characters that appear. It's really a fun show. It's been a lot of fun for us to put on and to have a lot of fun just creating new ideas and really taking it wherever we've kind of imagined it.
We had about 8 of us working on the writing staff, and we read a bunch of different versions of Robin Hood and then just worked out kind of the best way to use these characters in ways that we hadn't seen before.
Tickets can be purchased online on the Student Union website. There are also limited tickets available on site at the college. The city's annual Brew Ha Festival is underway at this hour. About 3,000 beer lovers are expected at the waterfront this weekend for the event hosted by the Thunder Bay Chamber of Commerce. There's a wide variety of craft brewing companies on site at Marina Park, along with 10 food vendors. There's also a string of live musicians ranging from jazz and blues to rock and country who will perform today and tomorrow. It's all for a great cause, as a portion of the proceeds will be donated to Our Kids Count. Nancy Milani, the Chamber's Director of Special Events, says it's a great opportunity to celebrate all things Northwestern Ontario.
This is a great opportunity for people to come out and see our local and regional brewers. The brewers that are here on site have special brews that are just coming out for this weekend. So you won't see these in LCBO or the beer store. You won't see them in their establishments after. So it's a great opportunity to try new product. We have a lot of seltzers and we have wine tastings as well. So it's not just beer. If you're not a beer drinker, there is other opportunities for you to do great tastings as well.
The event continues this evening until 9 p.m. and runs again tomorrow from 4 to 9. Tickets are still available for both tastings at the Brew Ha Festival website. So Fiona, a lot happening outdoors this weekend between Brew Ha. We saw that play being performed at the college. That looks like a lot of fun. Of course, that means that people want to know what the weather's going to be like.
Yeah, no pressure here. And you know, it looks like a lot of fun. I want to check it out, so I've got my fingers crossed for the next 24 hours. Pardon me. Today we had a low of 11, a high of 26. The Humidex topped out at 30. It had to have been uncomfortably hot at times for some of those performers in all that garb. Winds were from the south 9 to 35 kilometers per hour, and we had partly to mostly cloudy skies. That's because there have been pockets of rain popping up all over the region. Very brief showers have been felt in many locations. Now to the west, it's still hot, it's still humid. We've got a 25 in Atikokan and Fort Francis. They've got lots of sunshine, and the fort is experiencing currently a Humidex about 29. As you head further north, they've had a little bit more rain in Kenora and Dryden, and especially in Red Lake. Short, brief showers dropping some rain and then moving on and then getting a little bit of a break. Now what that does, besides cooling the temperatures down to 19 at this hour, is it cuts the humidity. So the Humidex hasn't been a factor when there's been periods of rain. As we head eastward into Armstrong, they're currently at 23, 24 in Greenstone. They had mostly cloudy skies all afternoon, and the Humidex hovered around 27. This rain just started in the last hour. As we head down into Marathon, they're currently at 18. Sault Ste. Marie, 23 under mostly cloudy skies. They too had a couple of very brief showers this afternoon with the Humidex, though building back up. It's currently feeling like 29 on the eastern shores of Lake Superior. Here in the city of Thunder Bay tonight, we are going to drop down to a low of 12. There is a very small chance of a brief shower, but for the most part, it's looking to clear after midnight, and that should keep things cool for folks at Brew Ha and at the plays that are outside tonight as we head into Saturday. Any bits of rain are expected to move out. We're looking fairly clear, but temperatures are going to start to cool a little bit. Not cold, but a little below normal. And I'll have more details on what that will come out to be later on in the news hour.
Okay, thanks a lot, Fiona. Well, some tragic news out of BC. A 19-year-old firefighter has died while battling a wildfire in that province. We'll have the details when your Friday News Hour continues right after this.
It's hard to think of a more dramatic example of sacrifice and commitment to the people of British Columbia.